Rizzoli and Isles redefined crime drama with one of TV's most iconic female duos. But off-screen, reality told a far more unpredictable story. Success, silence, and a loss that changed everything. So what really happened to the cast after the spotlight faded, and why do their lives still resonate today? Sasha Alexander was born on the 17th of May, 1973. She played Dr. Maura Isles, the brilliant, emotionally guarded medical examiner whose clinical precision masked a deeply human need for connection. When Rizzoli and Isles premiered in 2010, Sasha was 36 years old, stepping into a role that demanded not just intelligence, but control. The cause of Maura's impact lies in contrast. She lived in a world of facts, yet constantly struggled to understand feelings. Sasha didn't portray her as cold. She portrayed her as someone who had learned to survive by mastering emotion rather than expressing it. That choice created a character audiences didn't just admire, they empathized with her. The effect was powerful. Maura became the quiet, emotional anchor of the show, balancing Jane's intensity with logic and restraint. Their chemistry worked because it reflected two ways of coping with trauma. One, through force, the other, through control. By 2026, Sasha remains a steady presence in the industry, but her legacy is already defined. She proved that strength doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it whispers through discipline, and that's what made Maura unforgettable. Jordan Bridges was born on the 13th of November, 1973. He played Frankie Rizzoli Jr., the dependable younger brother who evolved from a uniformed officer into a confident detective over the course of the series. At 36 years old, when the show began in 2010, Jordan stepped into a role that could have easily faded into the background. But the cause of Frankie's staying power lies in consistency. He wasn't written as the most dramatic character, he was written as the reliable one, the steady pulse within a chaotic family. Jordan understood that restraint creates credibility. The effect was subtle, but essential. Frankie became the bridge that held the Rizzoli family together when tensions rose. His journey reflected something deeply relatable, the struggle to grow out of expectations and earn respect on your own terms. Coming from a legendary Hollywood family, Jordan could have leaned on legacy, but instead he carved out his own quiet identity. By 2026, his career reflects endurance rather than explosion. And that, in itself, carries a lesson. Not every success is loud, some are built slowly, through patience and persistence. Lorraine Bracco was born on the 2nd of October, 1954. She played Angela Rizzoli, the outspoken, fiercely loving matriarch, whose warmth brought balance to a show rooted in crime and loss. At 55, when the series premiered, Lorraine brought lived-in authenticity that no script could manufacture. The cause of Angela's resonance lies in truth. She felt like someone you've known your entire life. She was flawed, emotional, sometimes overwhelming, but always real. The effect was immediate. She grounded the show in humanity, reminding viewers that behind every investigation was a family, a history, a life interrupted. But Lorraine's story off-screen adds another layer. Her battle with depression reframes her performance entirely. The laughter, the energy, the chaos. It wasn't effortless. It was intentional. By 2026, she stands not just as an actress, but as an advocate for mental health, turning personal struggle into public strength. Angela Rizzoli wasn't just comic relief, she was the emotional core, proving that love, even when messy, is what holds everything together. Bruce McGill was born on the 11th of July, 1950. He played Detective Vince Corsack, the seasoned, blue-collar investigator whose loyalty and experience made him a cornerstone of the team. At 59, when he joined the show in 2010, Bruce brought decades of acting experience that shaped every moment he appeared on screen. The cause of Corsack's authenticity lies in understatement. He didn't need dramatic speeches or emotional outbursts. His presence alone carried weight. Bruce understood that real authority doesn't announce itself. It exists quietly, built over time. The effect was a character that felt dependable in a world full of uncertainty. Corsack wasn't flashy, he was real. And that realism gave the show credibility. His dynamic with Jane reflected mentorship without sentimentality, respect without ego. By 2026, Bruce continues to embody the working actor's ethos, focused, disciplined, and deeply committed to craft. His journey reminds us that longevity in Hollywood isn't about reinvention, it's about consistency. And sometimes, the strongest characters are the ones who don't need to prove anything. Lee Thompson Young was born on the 1st of February 1984. He played Detective Barry Frost, the kind-hearted, slightly anxious investigator whose sincerity made him instantly likable. At just 26 years old when the show began, Lee brought a natural warmth that contrasted sharply with the darker themes of the series. The cause of his connection with audiences lies in authenticity. Nothing about his performance felt forced. Frost wasn't trying to be heroic. He was trying to do his job well, and that humility made him real. The effect was a character viewers trusted, someone who felt safe in an unsafe world. But Lee's story took a heartbreaking turn. On the 19th of August 2013, at only 29 years old, he passed away. His death shocked both fans and cast members, leaving a silence that no storyline could fill. In many ways, he became the lost soul of the show, a presence that lingered even after he was gone. By 2026, his legacy remains deeply felt. His story is a painful reminder that even those who bring light to others can struggle in the dark themselves. Idara Victor was born on the 23rd of July, 1977. She played Nina Holliday, the intelligent and composed analyst who joined the series during one of its most emotionally fragile periods. When she stepped into the role in 2014, she was around 37 years old, entering a space shaped by loss and expectation. The cause of her success lies in sensitivity. She didn't try to replace what had been lost. Instead, she introduced a new rhythm, a different kind of presence. The effect was stability. Nina didn't force herself into the narrative. She allowed the story to evolve around her. That approach gave the show a sense of continuity without erasing its past. Her character reflected a quiet truth about healing. You don't move on by forgetting. You move forward by adapting. By 2026, Idara's career continues steadily, defined by thoughtful choices rather than sudden fame. Her journey mirrors her character, grounded, resilient, and quietly impactful. Chaz Palminteri was born on the 15th of May, 1952. He played Frank Rizzoli Sr., the authoritative yet deeply human patriarch whose presence added weight to every family moment. At 57, when he appeared on the show, Chaz brought something few actors can replicate: credibility shaped by real experience. The cause of his impact lies in authenticity. He didn't act like a father, he understood one, with all its contradictions. The effect was a character who felt both intimidating and comforting, a man whose love was expressed through control rather than softness. His scenes revealed the generational tension within the Rizzoli family, where strength often replaced vulnerability. By 2026, Chaz continues performing and storytelling, proving that some actors don't fade, they evolve. His presence on the show served as a reminder that family is not always gentle, but it is always defining. Tina Huang was born on the 1st of January, 1981. She played Susie Chang, the sharp, observant lab technician whose quiet intelligence made her an essential part of Maura's world. At around 29, when she joined the series, Tina embraced a role that required subtlety rather than spotlight. The cause of her effectiveness lies in precision. She understood that smaller roles demand clarity, not exaggeration. The effect was a character who became memorable without dominating the narrative. Susie represented the unsung heroes behind every case, the minds that worked in silence while others took credit. Her presence added depth to the forensic world, reinforcing the idea that justice is never a solo effort. By 2026, Tina continues working steadily, her career built on consistency rather than visibility. Her journey highlights an important lesson. Not every impact is loud. Some are felt quietly, but just as deeply. Colin Egglesfield was born on the 9th of February 1973. He played Tommy Rizzoli, the troubled younger brother whose struggles with addiction and identity created some of the show's most emotionally charged moments. At 37, when he joined the series, Colin brought vulnerability that made Tommy difficult but impossible to ignore. The cause of his impact lies in honesty. He didn't soften the character's flaws. The effect was discomfort, but also truth. Tommy wasn't meant to be admired. he was meant to be understood. His story reflected the consequences of choices, the weight of family expectations, and the difficulty of redemption. Off-screen, Colin has spoken openly about his own battles with anxiety and OCD, adding another layer of meaning to his performance. By 2026, his continued work reflects resilience. Tommy Rizzoli wasn't just the black sheep, he was the reminder that not every story is about success. Some are about survival. Adam Sinclair was born on the 18th of April, 1977. He played Kent Drake, the sharp, slightly eccentric British lab assistant who arrived in the later seasons and brought a fresh intellectual spark to the forensic side of the show. At around 37 years old, when he joined in 2015, Adam stepped into a space that needed renewal. The cause of his effectiveness lies in timing. Kent didn't try to replicate Maura's dynamic with others. He created his own rhythm. The effect was subtle but important. He injected new energy without disrupting the established tone. His interactions with Maura added a lighter, more curious dimension, reminding viewers that even in a world defined by death, there is still room for curiosity and wit. By 2026, Adam continues working across international productions, maintaining a steady presence rather than chasing headlines. His role on the show reinforces a key idea. Sometimes, the characters who arrive late are the ones who keep a story alive when it needs it most. Alexandra Holden was born on the 30th of April, 1977. She played Lydia Sparks, a character defined by instability, impulsiveness, and emotional unpredictability. At around 35 years old during her appearances, Alexandra embraced a role that was not designed to be liked, but to be felt. The cause of Lydia's impact lies in discomfort. She represents the kind of person who disrupts order, who challenges patience, who forces others to confront their limits. The effect was tension. Every scene she appeared in carried unpredictability, making her presence impossible to ignore. Lydia's storyline with Tommy Rizzoli reflected a cycle of poor choices and emotional entanglement, showing how easily vulnerability can become chaos when left unchecked. By 2026, Alexandra continues working steadily, her career defined by versatility rather than typecasting. Her role reminds viewers of an uncomfortable truth. Not every character is meant to be redeemed. Some exist to show us the consequences of instability and the cost of losing control. John Doman was born on the 9th of January, 1945. He played Paddy Doyle, the calculating and quietly menacing Irish mob boss, whose presence added a layer of organized crime tension to the series. At around 65 years old during his time on the show, John brought a performance rooted in restraint. The cause of his impact lies in control. He didn't rely on aggression or loud intimidation. Instead, he lowered his voice, slowed his movements, and let silence do the work. The effect was far more unsettling. Paddy Doyle wasn't just dangerous, he was inevitable. A reminder that some threats don't need to announce themselves to be feared. His storyline added depth to Jane's world, showing that crime isn't always chaotic. It can be structured, patient, and deeply embedded. By 2026, John continues acting well into his 80s, a testament to longevity built on mastery. His role teaches a powerful lesson. True authority doesn't demand attention, it commands it through presence alone. Angie Harmon was born on the 10th of August, 1972. She played Jane Rizzoli, the fiercely driven detective whose strength, humor, and emotional resilience defined the entire series. At 37 years old when the show premiered in 2010, Angie carried the weight of the narrative from the very first episode. The cause of Jane's success lies in duality. She is tough, but never disconnected. Angie understood that strength without vulnerability feels hollow, so she allowed cracks to show beneath the surface. The effect was a character audiences didn't just admire, they believed in her. Jane Rizzoli became a symbol of modern television's evolution, proving that female leads could be both powerful and emotionally complex. Her partnership with Maura wasn't just central to the show, it was its heartbeat. By 2026, Angie remains a recognizable figure, her career shaped by both professional success and personal challenges. Her story reflects a deeper truth. Strength is not about avoiding hardship, it's about enduring it and continuing forward. Daryl Allen Reed was born in 1955. He played Rondo, the streetwise informant whose brief appearances left a lasting impression. At around 55 years old during his time on the show, Daryl embodied a type of character rarely given full attention, but always essential to the story's realism. The cause of his appeal lies in familiarity. He feels like someone pulled directly from the streets, not from a script. The effect was authenticity. Rondo's presence reminded viewers that justice often depends on voices outside the system, people who operate in gray areas where rules blur. His scenes added texture to the world of Rizzoli Isles, grounding it in something raw and believable. By 2026, Daryl continues to appear in supporting roles, his career defined by consistency rather than fame. His role carries a quiet lesson. Sometimes, the smallest parts reveal the biggest truths about how the world really works. Brian Goodman was born on the 1st of June, 1959. He played Lieutenant Sean Kavanaugh, the no-nonsense authority figure who brought structure and discipline to the precinct. At around 51 years old when the show began, Brian delivered a performance shaped by real-life experience. The cause of his authenticity lies in his past before acting. He lived through a turbulent life that included brushes with crime. That history gave his portrayal an edge that couldn't be manufactured. The effect was a character who felt grounded, someone who understood consequences because he had lived them. Kavanaugh wasn't just enforcing rules, he embodied them. His presence reminded the team and the audience that actions have weight. By 2026, Brian's journey stands as proof of transformation. His life reinforces a powerful message. Your past may shape you, but it does not have to define your future. Sharon Lawrence was born on the 29th of June, 1961. She played Dr. Hope Martin, Maura's biological mother, whose introduction brought one of the most emotionally complex storylines to the series. At 50 years old, when she joined in 2012, Sharon stepped into a role layered with tension, regret, and unresolved history. The cause of her impact lies in emotional depth. She didn't play Hope as a simple figure of redemption. Instead, she portrayed a woman shaped by choices that could not be undone. The effect was a storyline that forced Maura to confront her identity, not just intellectually, but emotionally. Their relationship explored a universal question: can understanding the past truly heal it? By 2026, Sharon continues her work across television and theater, her career marked by range and depth. Her role on the show leaves behind a lasting lesson. Some wounds don't fully close, but facing them is the only way forward. Chris Vance was born on the 30th of December, 1971. He played Casey Jones, the battle-scarred soldier whose relationship with Jane Rizzoli added emotional tension to the series. At around 40 years old during his appearances, Chris brought a quiet intensity that made Casey more than just a love interest. The cause of his impact lies in restraint. He didn't overwhelm scenes with emotion. Instead, he let it surface gradually, revealing a man shaped by conflict and duty. The effect was a relationship that felt real, defined by timing, distance, and the difficulty of maintaining connection under pressure. Casey's story mirrored the reality of many lives touched by service, where love exists but cannot always survive circumstance. By 2026, Chris continues working internationally, his career reflecting adaptability. His role reinforces a key idea: not every relationship is meant to last, but that doesn't make it any less meaningful. Christina Chang was born on the 29th of June, 1970. She played Kiki, a supporting character introduced in the later seasons, who brought stability and professionalism to the team. At around 45 years old when she joined, Christina stepped into a role that required balance rather than dominance. The cause of her longevity lies in versatility. She adapts to each project without losing her identity as a performer. The effect is a career built on trust within the industry. Kiki may not have been at the center of the story, but her presence contributed to its structure, reinforcing the idea that every role matters. By 2026, Christina remains a consistent presence across television, her work defined by reliability. Her journey highlights a simple but often overlooked truth. Not every contribution is visible, but all of them are essential to the whole. If these stories moved you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more deep dives into the lives behind the legends. Because Rizzoli Isles was never just about solving crimes, it was about resilience, connection, and the unseen battles people carry. Their journeys remind us that success, loss, and growth often exist side by side, and the legacy they leave behind is ultimately one of humanity.